Podcasting since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts radio network. kingofpodcasts.com.
Flirting is dead. Delusional women have bare minimum expectations, and married men are constantly in therapy. Sex, love, and money in 2025. Let's talk about it.
We're all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the King of Podcasts.
Welcome to Depraved and Debaucherous. King of Podcasts here with you. Show's doing pretty well, you know. Thanks to my listeners on YouTube, and of course, if you found the audio version of the program, wherever you find podcasts. We're starting off with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, and of course, kingofpodcasts.com. And if you go to the website, you might see a little donate button at the very top right of the page. If you like the content I do on this program and all my other programs, feel free to go ahead and look at the donate button and see a couple different ways you can go and contribute to yours truly, whether it's by PayPal, Cash App, or buy me a cup of coffee. That'd be great. So if you would consider it, I wanted to just point that up front. The state of sex, love, and money. Let's not even talk about dating and relationships anymore. Let's just call it what it is. Sex, love, and money. Because those are the three areas that people really want to enjoy and love now. Trust me, those three things would be pretty satisfactory for me if I could have that. And for some of you out there, I'm pretty sure you would have the same thing. But the way you determine sex, love, and money depends. And it's also dependent upon what kind of lifestyle you're into, what your thinking is right now, if it's traditional or more modern, and if you really just believe your own hype when you look at yourself in the mirror and what your reflection says about you. What you might say is your reflection upon what other people might think about your reflection. Those kind of things. As simple as that. So we're going to go into three different tracks. First of all, the death of flirting. Then we'll talk about delusional women and their thoughts about the bare minimum expectations. There's one that just recently came out about this. And the number one marriage complaint for men that go to therapy. So let's go into a few of those things. There's a story I found, and I never even found this website before, but obviously they do a podcast and other things out here called The Art of Manliness. I didn't even know about this, but they put out a story here talking about how they saw an article about how young people these days are tired of dating apps and want to meet their romantic partners in real life. The only problem is the kids today don't know how to take part in the dynamic that kickstarts the in-person development of romantic relationships, flirting. So, you know, it was last year, at the start of 24, I did an episode where I talked about, let's get the dating game back up and going. Because that's what flirting was. So, now one of the things we have, the death of real world flirting, is we have the issues of the lack of flirting ability among young adults because of technology, honestly. Smartphones. Because Gen Z and Gen Alpha have lived in a world where they can mediate all their communication through a device. They don't have the social skills to have adept in-person flirting. And you know what? If you're an older guy trying to get together with a younger girl, some of that flirting stuff doesn't work because there are some girls that are not even used to it. They're kind of creeped out by it because they don't even know what that is. Sure, dating apps will guarantee initial mutual romantic interest, but you can only chat with someone on an app if they've also expressed interest. And there's uncertainty in the risk of shooting your shot. But when you flirt in real life, you don't have the same guarantee. The person you approach may or may not be interested, and the only way to find out is by chatting them up and engaging in flirty banter. They make a good point here. Guys, I know that rejection over possibly getting a chance to communicate with a woman is important, but the thing is, what was it I saw the other day? I saw a TikTok video talking about, would you prefer rejection or would you prefer, I forgot what the other part was. And for me, rejection is very important because the fact that we have these dating apps and the fact that we also have women that will communicate with us on text messaging, however we meet each other. You're going to have to ask yourself, like, wouldn't you want to just really get to the point and find out if someone is interested in you or not? Body language will tell you everything that woman's going to communicate to you. So, I mean, if I got the choice of going back to real in-person interactions without the fear of feeling like, well, that the sex I offer is not enough, the love I offer is not enough, the money I might have is not enough, then that's why I kind of indulge myself into seeing what there is out there in the online market and who you meet online. Otherwise, and who you meet in other parts of the world or part of the parts of the country, whatever that might be. Because in person, I mean, it would be fine if we were back to a standard where sex, love, and money could be considerable and reasonably valued. But it's so sick and twisted now and so corrupted more than ever today that's part of the reason I don't even bother to try to go and flirt, try to bother going and date, try to bother and even get into a relationship, let alone get into marriage or children, which is always what it's been. 20 years ago might have been a different story because I think it is technology that changed everything. Smartphones, earbuds, what are we listening to with on the smartphones to listen to smartphones, or what we're doing to just keep our eyes and attention on our phones and not everywhere else. Now, this story they talk about, they spoke with a professor of communication studies and the author of The 5 Flirting Styles, Jeffrey Hall. And he talks about the COVID lockdowns that did not help flirting skill development either. So a lot of young folks after the pandemic kind of missed out on some key developmental stages where you fall in love for the first time and interact with the opposite sex. A lot of young adults in their 20s right now, because of the pandemic, missed out on what it felt like to have those experiences. I hate to tell you this, okay? When you think about the fact that, the last couple of weeks, what is it, like, I don't know, out of the 4 months I've been doing the program this year, and let's just say what, 16 episodes? And about 10 of them about being about OnlyFans stars like Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips. Yeah, it's because of the fact that there are two women that the way they present themselves to other men, it's flirtatious. Bonnie Blue is a very flirty young woman when you look at what she does and how she talks. Because she's also tongue-in-cheek, very risque, but also not dirty. It's a flirtation. And she was basically able to go and flirt with guys because she's very good at it. And that's something to be said about like how she's able to go and do things. And the thing is, for some guys, if they're willing to go and overcome the confidence and just say, hey, I'm going to just flirt anyway, there are guys out there who will do it. But the problem is that you can flirt today, but are you going to really get far? Same idea as when we had the days of the pickup artist. And remember we talked about that, where the pickup artist game that's being done now in, like, say, a Colombia or, pick another place like Dominican Republic or Philippines or whatever. The story I had from Vice where they talked to the passport bros and what they were doing to do the pickup artist routine. That's flirting. And remember, those guys were so bad at it because they didn't know what they're going to say. First of all, there was a language barrier to deal with. And second, it was just the way they talked. So guys at that age, remember, these are guys like entrepreneurially, they're doing Bitcoin, they're doing different online deals, whatever, video games, this and that. So they're not adept to be flirting either. They don't have in real life flirtation skills. I notice for me, I still can flirt really well. I mean, I'm very good. My wonderful trait that I had when it came to networking, when it came to interacting, I was very good at flirting. I was very good at least if I wanted to get the girl's phone number, I was very successful at that. A lot of times. Because I know I got the real phone number, because I would go ahead and reach back out and we would connect. Or just whatever happens. But like the thing was, I was good at flirting. At least I had that. But I had other things that were against me. So, okay, I might have gone through the flirting. At least being able to get the phone number or offering the phone number was not a bad thing. But at least I would get somewhere. I mean, there's the reason why I was able to get some dates. But the dates I was with really never went to anything. But that first interaction, I was very good at. Because when all I've done at first dates, the one thing I could do for sure was flirt. Because that's all I ever had experience in. Now, Jeffrey Hall continues on and says that a lot of young adults are in their 20s now because of the pandemic missed out on what it's like to have those experiences. So again, those passport bros, they're all in their 20s, early to mid 20s. And I guarantee you, they really never had a chance to go and do that real interaction or network. Other thing we always hear about as well, if you go to the clubs, there are people who go to the bar, go to the clubs, they're not engaging with each other at all. Like, you don't have the dance floor filled with people. It's all tables, VIP treatment, all that kind of stuff. Drink, bottle tables. That's it. Nothing else. They also mentioned the demise of flirting also comes in the increased skittishness modern men feel as to what's appropriate in terms of making romantic overtures towards women and what might come off as creepy or as sexual harassment. Yeah, the Me Too movement. And then this movement of where women feel like, as the modern independent woman they are, if you even feel like you get anywhere with a woman to go ahead and talk to you at all. First of all, there is a thought if you come off creepy or sexual harassment because the perception's out there now. It doesn't even mean anything if you're giving off that vibe. A woman's just going to use that as an excuse unless you're absolutely the one they want to talk to. And of course, there are parameters that they expect. And flirting can be in 5 different ways. Traditionally, it's following conventional gender roles where men initiate and women respond. Physical, where openly expressing sexual attraction through body language and touch. Sincere is creating emotional connections through meaningful conversation. You can still do that through text messaging. Playful, treat flirting as a fun game or a confidence boost. Same thing as well. Could be done online. Polite, emphasizing courtesy, respect, and subtlety. Comfortable for everyone involved so that interest goes unnoticed. That's good for networking, good for business. Now, in the story, they also go into some tips and tricks on what you could be doing to learn about that. One of the things that they mention in here, in flirting, which is very important, and if you can master this craft with a woman, you're going to do really well. Humor. Both men and women rate humor as highly effective in sparking attraction. Telling a funny story or offering a little gentle teasing creates rapport. Equally important, laughing at her jokes shows you appreciate her sense of humor. So yeah, but really, if you can get her to laugh, you're going to go someplace. It usually works that way. Now let's get into the delusional issues that women have right now, where Daily Mail actually put out a report about a delusional woman and her issuing a list of bare minimum expectations to her Tinder date, including a strict minimum salary. Now, her list was written out, and it got posted on Reddit in the Tinder forum. And so the guy that was being told what qualities, what was her criteria in order for him to be the bare minimum to be her husband. This guy then talks about and says, quote, she sent me a list of requirements. One of them includes a salary of $300,000 plus. So here's the requirements that this young lady had about this. First of all, he must love me deeply and put me first. He must be financially successful. At least a $300,000 plus salary. He must be generous and spoiling her. And must be sophisticated and enjoy luxury. Then she was looking on and offered personal qualities she wants in a man, which is a man being emotionally intelligent and confident, chivalrous and protective, ambitious and disciplined, and family-oriented and well-connected. Yeah, pretty standard here. She also wants a man that is fit, attractive, and well-groomed. She wants a man who takes control and makes plans, keeps his word and values trust, supports my goals and lifestyle, fun, outgoing, and socially respected, prefers privacy over social media validation, loves traveling and fine dining, sexually disciplined and loyal, handles pregnancy prevention, no hormones but for me, and makes life easier. Requires a maid, chef, etc. Let's go to those again. 18 different pieces of criteria that she has. Okay, bare minimum for her husband, love me deeply, put me first. That's reasonable, right? The financial successful part, I don't know how many guys are making $300,000 a year. That's wild. Okay, lady, if you think you're going to get a guy that's going to be getting $300,000 a year, that guy must be working a lot. Or what he does must keep him preoccupied quite a bit for you able to do things, right? You're not going to get that guy away from his work that easily, okay? Generous and spoils you. When you want a guy to be the husband to be generous and spoiling you, then there's never going to be a shortage of what you expect from him that's going to be generous and that's going to spoil you. That's not you wanting a husband. That's you wanting a daddy. Okay, that's a sugar daddy right there. Let's make that clear. Or you want a daddy type. You want a guy who's sophisticated and enjoys luxury. That's a woman that might want to enjoy that. I don't know how many guys that are acting sophisticated and enjoying luxury. I mean, what? Oh, so you want some rich, preppy guy kind of, likes to go And the thing, sophisticated enjoys luxury. So that might be like enjoying art, enjoying brunch, enjoying, I don't know, some other kind of like very, I don't even know what it would be. It's like something just culturally different. Just something enjoys concerts or like, let's say the opera or I don't know, Broadway shows. I don't know what it would be, but like, again, has to be spending money and also enjoy luxury. So luxury brands, luxury cars, luxury clothes. So the generous and spoiling part means she must be lavish with luxury. Emotionally intelligent and confident. Well, I mean, that's also asking for like the guy to be super smart and just be emotional intelligence and confidence, but that's a reasonable request. Chivalrous and protective absolutely is a reasonable request. Ambitious and disciplined, yes. Family oriented and well connected, yes. Fit, attractive, and well groomed, okay. It should also matter if you are the same. Like, are any of these 18 criteria right here? Is this woman going to match any of these to match up with her mate? Just want to make that clear too. Takes control, makes plans. Oh, that's okay. I don't mind that part. And I'm sure a lot of guys will probably be okay with that. Keeps his word, values trust. Now supports my goals and lifestyle. So that means in part that maybe providing him children or being a homemaker, that's not part of what you want. Goals and lifestyle would obviously mean goals that you have where you might want him to invest in some project that you can't do it yourself. Again, that's where sugar daddy comes in. Normally. And then a lifestyle. When you get married, you're expecting a certain lifestyle to be maintained. When that's more like what dating is going to be, but relationships, you want the dating, you want that lifestyle to continue. That's not a husband. That's a sugar daddy. I think she needs to be understood to that. So if she wants some rich benefactor, that's what she's asking for here. And she wants a rich benefactor that's also a good, upstanding man. The thing is, there are very few and far between men that will be all these things. I don't think there's anybody that really say that there's a guy that absolutely fits all these roles. I don't know that. And how many guys are out there that are fun, outgoing, and socially respected? I mean, that's the part of you need to be a little good around him, all this kind of stuff. Preferring privacy over social media validation. Well, let's turn it around on the young lady. What about you? I mean, do we know that you're not looking for validation? Why would you want the luxury things? Why do you want to have the generosity and the spoiling? Who are you going to share that with? Don't tell me you're not going to do it on social media. So it's a little hypocritical right there. Turn around and let's see what she would say about that. Loves traveling and fine dining. Well, that's also, you're kind of duplicating right now because generous and luxury, that's also traveling and fine dining. So that's, same thing goes. Lifestyle. So she's just repeating herself there. Sexually disciplined and loyal. And sexually disciplined can also mean, well, if she wants to be sexually active, she will with you. But that's going to be on her terms. And he also can't sleep around. Okay, I can understand that part, but still, sexually disciplined. So she wants somebody that she can dominate. Well, where's the guy that's, chivalrous and strong? Like you don't want a masculine man. You want a guy who's not masculine. More feminine. Because there's a lot of feminine traits she's asking for right here too. Makes life easier. Maid, chef, etc. So she wants a guy to supply somebody that will do the work that she doesn't want to do. So what is she going to do? And the thing is, she thinks she could expect this because she's young and pretty. Probably has privilege, probably has, a lot of years of youth left. But when that fades away, it is delusional, completely. All these things that come down to wanting feminine and not really masculine qualities, really a lot of feminine qualities. In a way, I almost feel like she would be better off trying to find a woman that could go ahead and fill this role instead of a man. Now, the other thing, too, is that's the delusion that's out there. Do I think it's possible that she's trolling? Yes. Because how many women honestly, realistically believe that you're going to find a guy like that with all those 18 components? And by the way, is she saying that she needs to have all 18 met or just some of them? Like, we don't know that part either. I mean, if I ask myself if I wanted to go and give what I thought I needed to go and find a woman that would be with me. I have it written down. Like, just, I think it's very simple for me. I want a woman that loves me so much she can't imagine me without her in her life. That no matter what life brings up, she's always cheering me on, standing by my side. And that she loves me so much she can't live without me. Those are three things that are pretty simple. And I think when you have that right there, you have enough motivation to get to other things. But if I had to go look for traits, yeah, a good heart, appreciates and values love over money. And I mean, when it comes to sex, I mean, I'm not necessarily thinking about like I need to be like a rabid dog or like bunny rabbits humping around all the time. I don't need that right now at this point in my life. It'd be nice, but I'm not expecting it. So the thing is that all those areas that she's asking for from a delusional, independent woman's standpoint, looking for discretionary income or looking for what she wants from a man that satisfies her. Like, there's so much to satisfy her, and it's also just being very selfish and foolish and greedy and spoiled rotten. Which is fine, but like I said, she is looking for sex, love, and money in such a delusional fashion. It's way out there, out of the normal thought process. Let's just say that. Now, finally, the fact that men that have to go behind closed doors, and it's not necessarily marriage counseling, but men that will share in therapy, and they're married. The fact that we have this being an issue right now it's heartbreaking, as it's horrible. But here's what we got. There's been a lot of talk about the mental health of men, and that there are a lot of things that are going on that we're seeing a lot of ignorance on the mental health of men and what men are going through. We know that men are not necessarily the tough guys they were expected to be back when being masculine meant hiding behind a public facade of callous indifference to anxiety and depression. But even though men remain less likely than women to be diagnosed with mental illness, they are far more likely to fall victim to dire consequences related to mental health problems. So the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, in 2020, they released statistics saying that men were almost 4 times more likely than women to die by suicide. The rate of suicide is highest among middle-aged white men. Now, there's the stigma that kept men from seeking mental health treatment is crumbling. Men's health organizations like Movember, the Men's Health Network, and the American Society for Men's Health have staked out prominent positions on the front line of men's health advocacy. So men seeking therapy to help with emotional challenges and mental health obstacles, they've already taken that first important step towards a better understanding of their overall health. But what did they talk about in marriage therapy? So therapists have uncovered some of the things that men secretly share in therapy that their issues are. One is a partner who's too critical. So when character traits are criticized, it leads to great distress within the individual and the marriage. When the focus is being critical, the other spouse loses sight of what's being lovable. And criticism leads to disregard, disrespect, contempt, and even hate. Yeah, guys don't want to feel like you're in a spot where everything's going wrong and there's nothing you can do right to make a woman happy. Because it's an inherent thing for a man to want to make his woman happy and take care of her and provide for her. But it's not so much about money, it's more about love and also about sex. So behavior can be responded to differently and addressed ultimately eliminated in the marriage. Husbands want to be valued, adored, admired, accepted, and respected. And they can learn communication techniques and tools to defend themselves in a non-defensive way when they're criticized. Next, a partner who unfairly judges his choices. Like I said, there was one woman that I had that, I'll say it like this. She was a wonderful girl. Smart, beautiful, ambitious. And I was just way too naive and immature and stupid to realize how good she was to me. Because in the short time I spent with her, I botched it up because she broke off with me. And, in retrospect, I did tell her when we communicated again, and she got married. And I'm sure she's happy. Like, she really did put me in a lot of different ways, was supportive. I mean, the initial start, there was something there good between me and her, but I just was doing it wrong. I was bad about it. I was so emotionally stupid about everything. I'm 29 years old, and I did not understand what I was doing with her. But I wish I would have found her at this time of my life. I probably would have been handling things a lot better. But it took, again, 20 years too late. But that's okay. It's supposed to happen that way, I guess. That's just it's a lesson to go and learn. But now for me, I know with her, she helped me with certain decisions when I was stuck in debt and what I was trying to do, trying to get myself off the ground when it came with my jobs. That she gave me great consulting. She consoled with me. She was looking at my best interest when she was saying about things about what I should do in some of the struggles that I had. And I must say that she did help in doing some turning around for me and where things were in my life. And I must admit, she helped me get to a certain direction that really helped me out. And I'm grateful to her about that. Because I needed her. I mean, it was really something that I wanted. I got lucky that she was able to go ahead and talk to me and bring me back down to earth, because it being my own thoughts, overthinking everything, she just had a way to kind of communicate with me and just help me understand from a different perspective. Like, she wasn't being selfish. She was being selfless. She was offering sound advice. And I took her advice and I trusted her advice. And she was so smart about that. And, I hope she's doing wonderful right now. I hope she's very happy, and I hope she's very successful. And she has a great big family, big, huge, stupid family out there. Not stupid, like just big and ridiculous. I hope she's having all the love that she ever wants in her life, and hope she's very happy right now. So for some men, they say that, they'd feel like they could never fully satisfy their wives because they're mixed with any kind of words is an assessment of their behavior, which for a man is directly an assessment of his worth. So one thing is that for guys, they might not feel safe expressing their feelings. Then there's a lack of intimacy, which that goes with every relationship right now. A lack of intimacy is one of the most common issues mentioned when they come into therapy. So usually it's far more complex than the simple statement. Intimacy for most men is a physical act that produces emotional closeness, but also intimacy for women is an emotional act that involves physicality, but begins in two parts, which means it is easy for this to become disrupted and for both to feel frustrated by different reasons. And the problem for a man is that if he and his wife are stressed due to the demands of their life, work, children, new house, family illness, his wife will feel less emotionally close, be less likely to engage in intimacy because she will have less emotional bandwidth, the element she needs to become intimate. And then there's also marital issues where therapists have talked about the fact that men will come off and say, well, she talks all the time. We haven't been intimate in months. She repeats herself and rambles on forever, so I can no longer remember what she's saying. She complains that she does everything and I do nothing without regard to my work time, commute, car, yard, and house maintenance. She can't control her emotions and attacks me. Hates my friends, and any social life we have is with her friends. She is overprotective and interferes with the kids, getting real life consequences. And her family she thinks is perfect. Mine are dreadful. These are pretty common things we hear about all the time. But that's the other part where those might be common things that could be probably alleviated. But then the other part could be that woman might be gaslighting, might be very narcissistic, controlling, and unbecoming of a woman to be a wife, that she was a red flag and toxic from the beginning. Which that's the part that we have too, where how many times are guys being stuck in a relationship where they might be in something that's very toxic and they don't realize it. So when you hear the delusionality here, when you hear about some of the things that men might be having to go to speak on in therapy about the women and their life, that's not a good sign. And again, lack of intimacy, that can be held back. Like some of this you have to also consider could be taken from the perspective that there might be some mental, not just the issues that are going against the guy's mental health, but also what kind of toxicity this woman has. Because that's the other part we have to go and keep an eye on as well. That there are certain things here that might be a bit uncomfortable because of the fact that we have women that are in relationships right now with guys, and what they've asked for. Guys have not learned to, they're not as masculine as once before. They are not as the testosterone level they might not have as much as one before. I remember seeing a story on TV not too long ago about, that men's testosterone levels are dropping more at younger ages more than ever. Like for some guys today, 20s or 30s, having a testosterone level of under 400, 200, 300 points. That's bad. The fact that we have now, hormone therapy replacement and all these other things that are going on to try to go and change this out. I guess these are all these issues that are coming across that it's just really a big problem. But this is the state of sex, love, and money in 2025. These are big issues that we have right here. Big issues, and there's no answer for it. So, there's one way you can go and handle it, which is a way I've done before, in some way, shape, or form, because it's just like it works, kind of helps out this way. But, you want to take the route in the meantime while you're waiting for that woman that will, appreciate you and say, well, the sex is enough, the love is more than enough, and the money is not that important to be a factor. You needed to get by and get together, but like other parts, it's like, the delusionality is not there. So maybe just do it like some people do out there, Maybe you'll find a woman that is going to go ahead and fool around and romp around with sex. You fall in love with her a little bit. You keep her at a distance. You spend a little money on her. But then you just keep things as a friends with benefits. Maybe keep it a little depraved and debaucherous.